Hi there, this is Percs, back with another video. This time I'm going to be going through this West Coast, Larry June sort of type of beat. Definitely inspired by the last album he did with CARDO, which I really liked. So going for like more of a general West Coast sound than the stuff like he was doing with Alchemist, which is like sample based. But I really love that album too, so hopefully I can make something like that as well as this. But yeah, let's start by going through the melodies. So I definitely wanted to start off with like a Rhodes, like I did in that Neptune's video. This beat's going to be kind of similar to that. It's a different sound entirely, but sort of using the same sounds in a way, my own twist on it. So first we've got this EP electric piano sound in Expand. So it's just about finding some smooth chords. Yeah, very nice and smooth, good vibe to start off with. So just moving it about basically until it sounds good. There's not too much like copy and paste. It's just figuring out which notes sound good. So next we'll go through the pad. So you see, I tried quite a few different pads because it doesn't sound like pad you'd normally use in this type of beat, I guess. But I thought it sounded quite good as a backup to the electric piano. So yeah, that sounds like this. Yeah, almost like a lead in a sense, but yeah, this is a pad, and it was just about adding little notes of like texture after I got the Rhodes electric piano down, and just adding on to the vibe of it all. So next we've got this electric piano accent, so this is also in Expand, but I think I must have found this one first and the melody didn't quite work on its own with this, so I just used this as an accent. So you'll see it's just like some arpeggiated notes really, just going like up and then a chord. So you'll hear when I play it with the other melodies how it sounds with them, but just on its own it sounds like this. Just like a nice texture just coming like just before the end of the 4-bar. So after that I definitely wanted to add one of those like sign leads you'll hear in a lot of West Coast beats. Definitely a lot of like old Dr. Dre stuff. I've always wanted to add in this type of lead into one of my beats. It's not quite gone as well as I'd hoped before this one, so I just sort of, I think initially I was copying the pad pattern because that sort of, there's not too many notes, so it was good to copy that into this lead preset and then just mess about with the notes because I didn't want it to have the exact same sound as the pad. I wanted it to have a bit more variation because it is a very high-pitched kind of annoying sound if it's just like one note all the time. That sounds like this. Yeah, you'll see I'm only really going up and down in every second bar, and it's basically just following the notes in this chord progression. I'll just play that all together and then I can go through how I mix those melodies together. Yeah, very nice and smooth vibe to go off of when creating the drum band. So let's go through all of the mixing for these melodies. So for the electric piano we've got an EQ on it, taking some of the lows, boosting a bit of the mids here in like the 1500 range, just because I thought that it was a bit lacking in all of the melodies, so it sounded good just boosting it a bit there, so you see there. And then we've got a compressor on it just to give it a bit more warmth basically, and then we put some RC20 on it. So This is just the standard preset pretty much. It gives it a bit more brightness to whatever sound you're putting it on. And sometimes I'll put the noise on, so it's just a bit of vinyl noise in the background. It just gives it a bit more character to the sound basically. So without all that mixing, the piano sounds like this. So a bit soft, and then with, it sounds like this. Much louder, a lot more colour like I was saying. Next we'll go on to the pad. That's also got a bit of delay on it, just making it feed into itself a bit, and quite a lot of reverb because of it being like quite a high pitched sound. I wanted to make it a bit more spacier, add some width to it basically. Like with the piano I was adding character and stuff, this has got a bit more high-end type of mixing on it. So now for this accent, we've just got a bit of RC20 on it. So yeah, it's just a standard preset without the noise and a bit less colour on it. Next we've got the lead. We've got an EQ taking out all of that low end. We've also got some reverb on it, just to give it a bit more space in the mix, just like that pad. And then we've got some delay. Like that electric piano, we've got the same amount of RC20 on it basically, just to make it match with the electric piano and bring it in a similar space. So it all sounds like one melody rather than like 4 different ones climbing into each other. So then we've got them all routed to a melody bus, so that when they're coming together I can make sure there's no like low end creeping in from the plugins I've added basically. Yeah, that's taken out on the very low end. And then we've got some compression on here, which I don't usually do for melodies, but sometimes I might. And what this is doing is the slight transient extraction preset. So I think basically this is just making sure that like those peaks in the melodies are not like coming through too harsh and like messing with where the kicks hit in this area, or where the hi-hat might be hitting here. It's just making sure it's like armed in the mix basically. So I knew next, like the most important part after like this lead and like the main melody is the bass pattern, getting like a groovy bass going. Yeah, so let's go through the bass. So basically what I do when I'm messing with the first melody, I'll add in like notes in the higher octaves and stuff to play around with like what counter melodies I'm going to be adding in later, whether it be with like a higher pitch sound or maybe a lower pitch sound like the bass. So what I've done here in the bass, you'll see this is the preset I used for the electric piano, and actually it's the same preset for the bass, but it's just lower down in the octaves. So when I was experimenting, I managed to find this bass pattern, and it actually worked really well with this preset in a lower octave, which is kind of strange, but that sounds like this. So it's like a really thick synth bass basically, even though it is an electric piano technically. And it's literally just following the bass notes, like I was saying. So you've got the E, D sharp, E, F sharp, and then the bass here. You've got those notes, and just finding like a stabby pattern, because I think they often use those type of bass patterns if they're not using an 808. So I felt this sounded really good with the melody, which I'll let you hear now. Yeah, it's pretty much the same pattern each time here, but just weaving a few notes in and out basically. So that note, that second note that's in the first and third ones, it's not in the second one or the fourth one, and then the fourth one's got a bit more of like a stabby end to it, just to give it a bit of a variety as it's maneuvering between the melodies basically. And I thought this sound, it needed quite a bit of mixing, because before all of that mixing, it doesn't exactly sound very bassy, which I knew I could craft it into a good bass, but you'll see it took quite a few plugins here. So we've got an EQ taking out all of that high end, boosting some of the low end here. So let's just go through them one by one. So let's see how that sounds now. Yeah, just boosting some of that low end, taking out all of that high end that's in the electric piano. And then we've got a bit of distortion on here. It's the overdrive preset, and then I added this Camel Crusher preset, which it basically just give it even more distortion. So that now sounds like this. Yeah, so it sounds a lot more like a distorted bass rather than like a flat electric piano in the second octave now. So I just added the same EQ on here, just boosting all those things again, and taking out that high end that was affecting that had been brought in by that distortion. So we're basically boosting even more of the low end here. But the distortion is still acting in that low end. At this point, what I do with 808s or basses, mainly basses, I'll add in one of these bass presets. So the groovy one usually works quite well aptly with like groovy type of bass patterns, so it just gives it a bit more warmth basically in colour. And then next it was the limiter, which I'll go through when I go through the kicks. So before, that bass pattern sounds like this. And then after. Yeah, it's like a completely different sound, and I'm glad I went through with trying to mix this weird electric piano thing into a bass rather than just using a one shot, because it created like a completely different sounding bass. Next, I'll start going through the drums quickly. So the thing I always start off with in these type of beats is the clap, because it's the main element of it, and it's very simple, and it's perfect to try and start the bass of the drum pattern. So we've got two claps here. We've got this first one, simple, and then one just to back it up. So yeah, just an extra one in that third bar, and then there's a roll here at the end of the eighth. Very signature to West Coast stuff. So you'll hear there these two claps routed to a bus, and got this transient processor on. It just it brings out the transients basically in the drum sound, and I always usually use it on whatever main clap or snare I'm using, just to make sure you can hear it through the mix. It's got a bit of reverb on here, not too much, but then quite a bit of delay for a clap than usual, just to space it out a bit more. So with all of that, it sounds like this. Next we got the kick. So it was just, you know, like I always say with the kick pans, it's just finding a simple bounce to go with the clap. So you see I tried quite a few notes here, the grayed out ones, but you know, just mostly keeping it simple. Sort of doing a roll there, like the clap as well. A few extra ones here, just to keep it interesting. And the main thing was finding like a good kick sample. That's basically what you want from a kick, like depending on what you're going for, but making sure you've got the right one, just nice and punchy. And that's got some sausage fattener on it, only a little bit, but just enough to help it punch through the mix properly. So next we got the hi-hats. So we got this one, very simple hi-hat, and I think for this hi-hat, because I'd already got the bass pattern, I basically just wanted to follow that along with the hi-hat with some extra rolls in. So the second one there's some rolls in, but let's just show you that pattern. So we've got a decent amount of reverb on there. You see it's full in the mix, and a bit of delay, like with the clap. Give it its own space in the mix and help it sort of run into the next one. Creates like a different groove to it, I found, doing that, so it's a really cool thing. And then this roll at the end of the 4th bar, it's just backed up by this other hat, so it just sounds like this. And what I did with this is I panned it, so you can hear it if you've got headphones on, going through the left and then the right ear. Hi-hat rolls are quite common in West Coast beats, so I wanted to make sure to add it in at some point, but it's only in that 4th bar, not in the 8th bar, because that clap roll's coming in. So I didn't want it to like muddle with that, because you'll see I blanked it out, sort of trying to see if it works or not. But in the end, I just decided to keep it here where the clap roll wasn't, and there's not too much other things going on there. So next we've got the open hats. So we've got this one, and then we've also got this one that comes in the hook. Just two very simple open hats, and you see here this one's panned to the right a bit. So we've got a good full groove going there, and I could have left it at that, to be honest, but I wanted to add in some percussion and other elements coming in and out, just so it's not, you know, those same 5 or so drums just playing throughout the whole beat. It's the first one that comes in, so it's just this sound. So we've got a bongo here just hitting at the end of the 2nd bar. Just another drum texture. We've got this zap here in the end of the 3rd bar. That's panned to the left. And then we've got this ding that comes halfway through at the start of the next bar. So it's kind of like doing a delayed effect there, you'll see. It's going like down and then up and down again. It just keeps it interesting, and as it's flowing into the next 4 bars, basically, that sound. And then finally, the final drum sound we've got is this stomp. So usually people place it when it's coming back into like a verse or something to like give it some impact, but I think it worked well in the position it's in here because it's sort of matching with the clap, you'll see. So there's the 2 notes and there's the clap. You know, I knew at this point that it was very full and I didn't need to add anything extra. And you'll see there's not actually any effects, which now that I think of it, maybe it could have used like a reverse cymbal somewhere where it's coming back into the verse or something, but you know, it sounded quite good with all this going off. So the last thing, which I think I added in the order that it's in, but I wanted to go through this last and save it for last. So it's like a vocal accent. I've got this one, and then this one. So they led quite well into each other, even though they're different accents, because it's obviously like the same vocalist. And I didn't want to add anything to it because I think as it was when I added it onto the melodies, like it just sounded natural, like it should be there. So I didn't want to add any like extra delay or anything because it sounds like it's got that effect already on it. So we'll just show you what that sounds like now, and then I'll go through the arrangement. So you'll see here it starts off just with the electric piano on its own, which I knew I wanted, and then the pad comes in halfway through, and then we've got the hat and the bass that come in, and then all of the drums drop in. Then just the first open hat, and we've got the lead, got the clav, not too many of the other drums coming in yet. I'm going to save that for the hook, and then everything drops again. that vocal and bass hit together. Got that bit again. With everything now playing. Then we've got this bridge section, it's just the pad on the piano again. Slowly bringing everything back in with the hat. Then the bass. Flat. It's just taking, it's basically from this point just taking things out, putting them back in. Once I was done with the arrangement, it was just figuring out an outro, which is, it's basically the same as the bridge, just bringing everything back in again. And then it just fades out after one bar. So yeah, that's going to be it for this one. If you enjoyed it and you want to see more beats like these, or maybe I could do like a Alchemist type of Larry Tune beat with samples, but we'll see about that. But if you're interested in checking out some more of my beats, I'll link some more at the end of this video, like the Neptune spawn I mentioned earlier. And yeah, if you enjoyed, leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks.